Hello YouTube, I'm Natanis Likens. Today is May 17th, Friday, 2024, and that's going to go everywhere. I'm actually headed to work instead of this video being me leaving work. And the reason for this is another dream sequence. I don't know what's up with this thing today. It's not holding on there correctly, so you're gonna see my okay, let's just get into it because I don't think I'm gonna be able to record much. I don't know how much we're gonna be able to get on our phone because of the issues I've been having with it. Anyway, so dream sequence. What was my dream last night that I wanted to talk about? So, if you haven't seen any of these others facepalm or faceplant into my dashboard, most of these have been, this is not going to work today. I don't know what this thing's doing. I've been having new dreams that I just, you know what, this is not going to work. Let's do that. I'll just hold it as best I can. I've been having new dreams that I've got to completely rewrite everything I know about my own dreams. And last night's was yet another one that I'm just like, where does this keep coming from? So let's dive into it. I don't know his name. But if you've ever seen the show Expedition Unknown, I was on Expedition Unknown with, again, I don't know his name off the top of my head. So that was odd. What are you doing? Okay. Oop. Yeah, so Expedition Unknown. I was on there with him, and the premise of the dream is we are looking for a lost city. Now, the lost city, the terrain I'm about to describe to you, and the lost where I'm at in my dream is not. I know I'm not actually there, but yeah. So we're searching in Egypt for this lost city. However, the terrain doesn't match what I know of Egypt. I have never been there, and I am not a geologist of any sort. I'm closer to being a physicist than I am a geologist, which is saying something. If you've watched any of my videos where I talk about that stuff, you know how far-fetched that is. But at least I know things. I don't know jack about geology. But the terrain is kind of like, I don't know if you've ever seen it where it looks like compacted mud and it's like that red clay kind of look where it looks like it's folded over and it's kind of porous. Like it's been drizzled over something. That's kind of what the terrain looked like, if that makes any sense. I don't really know how to describe it. But that's the terrain, and you know, he's in his typical outfit, his sandy colored shirt and jacket and shorts, and I am in, ironically, a red shirt, and I guess I'm in shorts. I don't really wear shorts, but I don't remember seeing what I was wearing on my, as far as like pants or shorts. I do remember that I was barefoot. I don't know why I was barefoot. That's a portion of my dream that I'm just like, what? I mean, I have an idea as to what it means, but I don't actually know. Anyway, so we're making our way up the side of this mud bank or compacted clay bank or whatever it is. And him and his crew are actually behind me. We landed down in, I want to say it was in a valley, but I don't remember seeing anything. It feels like because I was going up a hill that I was in a valley. But we started off down there because he thinks this lost city is down there. And I noticed when we come in for a landing, there's something on top of the hill. So I start making my way up the hill, and him and his team are coming up behind me. He's got his walking stick out that he's using, and I've got a pair of drumsticks that I'm somehow using as walking sticks, like kind of like those I don't know what they're really called, like the poles that mountain climbers use when they're on ice. So it's like got a point on the end of it so you can stab it into the ground. I'm using my drumsticks like that. But the hillside of the cliffside that I'm climbing is getting pretty steep, so I'm able to just kind of reach out and do that, which makes no sense because, you know, drumsticks are really short. Anyway, we get up to the top of, or I get up to the top of this hill, and there are ruins everywhere. I have literally found the lost city. Just because I noticed something. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Nobody's celebrating though. Nobody is celebrating. So we get up there and I'm like looking around, like amazed at what I'm seeing. There's statues everywhere that have crumbled. There are texts on columns that I'm not going to say I can read because I don't know the language, but somehow I'm able to read it. It's really weird and hard to describe that. It's like seeing something for the first time and you're like, I have no idea what that is. But at the same time going, oh yeah, exactly. Whatever kind of sense that makes. Anyway, so we get up there and I'm exploring these ruins, and I quickly realize that I don't have any sort of camera or camera. I don't have any sort of camera to take any pictures of what we're looking at. And as I'm exploring it, the whole scenery just kind of shifts, and I'm in some kind of actual city. Like there's people walking around kind of city. I know I said we're in Egypt, but this feels more like a European city to me. I was stationed in Germany, so I have a vague idea of what the structure and design of a European city is. Sorry, I just had a thought on that. But yeah, the city morphs into something more like what you would see out in Europe. And then the people are still like Egyptian walking around me. It's kind of odd. And this is where we get kind of a shift, another shift in the dream. So now I'm not walking around. Instead of walking like a normal person, I'm doing flips to move around, and I'm flipping over people, I'm flipping over items. You ever see those videos of people doing parkour, and they're not simply doing basic parkour, they're actually doing like what I would call stylish parkour, where they're flipping over things, they're bouncing off of walls, and doing the flip. That's pretty much what is going on in this entire sequence. Is I'm doing all of this, and at one point I kind of stop and I'm trying to correct how I do a flip. And the thing is, it's not really a flip that I'm doing as much as it's more like a somersault, if that makes sense. So basically my body is twisting in midair. Instead of just simply going around itself, I'm twisting so that I can properly put my feet underneath me when I land. And it's like I can't go over myself backwards. Okay, so if you're a gymnast, maybe that makes sense to you. But yeah, so I'm having that problem, and I'm trying to correct it. And each time I try, it just doesn't work correctly. I'm still able to jump ridiculously high in my dream, but I'm not doing a flip properly. Again, it's more like I'm doing a somersault. Sort of. Gymnast is the same thing as geology. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about on that stuff. I don't know anything about it. So it's kind of hard to describe exactly the imagery that is in my head for that. Anyway, so that is about where my alarm clock wakes me up, and I'm like, oh great, I gotta go to work. So let's dive into this a little bit and see if we can piece together what is happening in this dream. And we're probably going to end real soon here. So we'll try and dive into this. Okay, so why Expedition Unknown? I'm not entirely sure. I know he starts off every episode of Expedition Unknown saying something like, I am on a journey to find blah, 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 blah. I think that is why, because I feel like I'm on a journey. I don't know what that journey is. I keep thinking to myself that the journey is YouTube. And this is the process of me getting my YouTube to where I can, like, support myself without having to deal with Mars. But that process is a long ways off. Okay, so why the hilly terrain and the drumsticks? I don't know. I don't know what... The only thing I can think of with the terrain is because I'm not familiar with Egypt, my brain filled it in with imagery it is familiar with, and that is I have watched quite a few archaeology videos, documentaries, there we go, documentaries, where they're talking about finding bones in certain layers of sediment and everything, and usually it's these big cliff faces that have this kind of reddish tint to them. That I think that's why that filled in. The drumsticks, I have no idea why I have the drumsticks. That makes literally no sense to me. The fact that I don't have any shoes on, the only thing I can think of there is I am on this journey that I'm not familiar with. So it's kind of like the concept of, you know, being naked somewhere because you don't, the real thing about that is you feel like you're underprepared, and you don't really know where you're going. That's the only thing I can think of as to why I don't have any shoes. As far as the ruins of a city, I don't really have any clues. One of the details that I kind of left out is the ruins aren't really Egyptian. They're more Roman than anything, so that's interesting. I got nothing on that. I don't know why I would be dreaming about finding a lost city and then finding that lost city in Egypt, and it's actually Roman building, construction, architecture. I got nothing on that one. The city morphing into something that is alive and vibrant. Okay, I think this goes into the YouTube. And so I got to kind of lay the foundation for this. So my little brother years ago had stated that if we're going to get big on YouTube, we need to build something. And I mean, this is years ago. He has since given up on this idea because he's not a builder. And I kind of realized that I'm not as good of a builder as I am a redstoner, which is kind of saying something because I don't feel like I'm anywhere near anybody's level as far as being a redstoner. I can think up things and figure them out, but if you look at my redstone compared to others, it's just all over the place. It's not as compact. It's not as intelligent. It's not as complex, though it looks complex because I put so much there to do the things that I want, and I'm sure that there's better ways to do it with smaller amounts of redstone. So that's kind of what the premise was with my own Minecraft channel, and that it was supposed to be a journey of me building up this city, which I haven't been able to do in almost a year. Family and frickin' Mars are just being absolute buttholes to me on trying to get anything done, especially Mars putting me on third shift. I literally can't get on there and record. I was doing streams there for a little while and doing different things, but the problem with the streams is if I can't sit there and record my voice like I'm doing right now as I'm heading to work, then it's almost impossible to actually record an episode. And I was trying to point out, or I was thinking this up in my head and pointed it out, that right now, the amount of time that I actually have to do any kind of recording, and this is without any vocals, I have about 6 hours on my days off. And I do a 3-day rotation. So I work 12-hour shifts 3 days, and then I'm off 3 days, work 3 days, off 3 days, work 3 days. So I have 3 days, 6 hours each. That's 18 hours a week. Except on certain weeks where I have at least 4 days during that week, and I only work 3 days. Then I have like 24 hours, which is still not enough. If you compare that to any other like time frame that a normal person has, even during the week, they've already got me beat. So if they have like 4 hours after work during the week, 5 days, that's at least 20 hours right there that they've got time to do stuff. I'm not saying they have all that time, but I'm in the same boat. I don't have all that time. So that is the maximum amount of time I can get. So you got 4 hours during the week, five days. So that's at least 20 hours right there that they have to be able to do anything. Then on the weekend, that's roughly 48 hours. Again, yes, I understand nobody has exactly that time, but I'm putting it in perspective. So they got 48 hours there. So they got a grand total during a week of about 68 hours where they can record content. The most I have is 24. That's the most I have. And even then, as I stated, because it's late at night, I can't record my voice. And the few recordings that I have done have been very short, very quick, and I know what I'm doing. I'm just going to get in, get done. And the bulk of the episodes is actually my intro and my outro. I know the outro is a little bit long. I don't really care at this point. It's what's in between the intro and outros that I'm really trying to focus on and see what little bit I can actually do with the very, very limited time I have. So basically right now, working on the city that was the premise for the majority of my Minecraft stuff is not possible. And that's what I think the Lost City is on it, and the reason it's Lost City is because it's something I haven't worked on in over a year. And I kind of have worked on it. I was working on a housing district, which is not exactly what it was supposed to be. Originally I had like certain areas picked out for where housing was going to be. But then that plan changed as soon as I started realizing, I need a lot of buildings. I'm pretty sure I can't come up with enough shops to make a city the size that I want to. So I started designing some basic housing and looking at Victorian period housing, and I came across a very simple design that I think still exists in San Francisco, ironically. I quickly tried to work that up in Creative World, and it's really big, and that's only with 10 houses. So I could make a 30 house area that's going to be quite massive. It's going to add something to the city, but the problem comes back to the rest of the city and all the shops and everything. So that's something that is kind of in the works. I haven't even tried yet to kind of designed up the shop faces. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and cut it there because I don't know how much more we're going to be able to record. Again, my phone has been having problems. So, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I really hope that you guys subscribe and hit that like button for me, and I will see you next time, if there is a next time. God bless and take care.